Alright, so hey folks, it's Ben here with another video. We have a spinning wheel here that my wife has had for a number of years, and it did run at one time. However, through moving and neglect and things like that, it has come into disrepair. So this video is going to be used to repair it. What we have here is a broken piece for, what's this part called?
That's the maiden, or the broken piece is the maiden bearing.
The maiden bearing, right, but this whole...
It's for the flyer and the bobbin.
The flyer and the bobbin, okay. So one of the issues that we've also run into is that these are a Phillips head screw, but it's also kind of worn out. Now we had an extractor kit, but we can't find it, so fortunately though, there is enough thread on this thing that we can probably pop it out with a larger Phillips head. So that's exactly what I'm going to try to do right now. So I've got a, it's a number 3 instead of a number 2, which is the usual. Yep, Phillips 3. And we're just gonna put some nice pressure on it, get her in her hole. And pop her right out.
Oh, that was easy.
Okay, so we got her out there. Click, and now we got this broken piece. So the maiden bearing, you can get these for this particular wheel. Do you know the brand?
This is an Ashford traditional wheel.
Okay.
And the parts are still available online at a lot of retailers. They still provide parts for this wheel.
Exactly. So what we've done is we actually ordered this bearing and the drive kit, the rubber wheel that goes around it as well. So this one actually was like this, and so our new one goes like so. And probably match up in the same hole. In fact, it's actually slotted, so that's cool. Actually bring that back to where the hole is. And for the sake of being a bad person, I'm going to put that screw right back in.
It wasn't that hard to get out, and hopefully we won't have to do it again.
That's right. Yeah, we can always take it out later if we have to, but... And that's all it needs to do is kind of hold it from moving. It doesn't really squeeze it in. Like I say, it's kind of a... So, okay, so we've got that part complete. Cool. The next part is going to be putting this bobbin in. What is it called? I forget.
Flyer and the bobbin.
The bobbin, and we're going to put up the power wheel, so we'll get it set up for that. Okay, so we've got the new arm in, but what we need to do now is make sure it's got free play. In other words, it can spin enough here, so.
I'm doing this backwards.
Big one first, and then the little one?
Yeah, it seems to work best.
Oh, I see, that's the pretty, I gotcha. Okay, now we've got a specific oil for it. I can't tell quite what it is, probably just a nifty little 30 weight, but we put that everywhere metal meets wood.
And in this case, plastic.
Right. A cute little dispenser. Is a squeezy bottle on top, or?
Yeah. Yeah, and it just has a like really narrow tip so that it can get into like holes like here.
Right on.
This is kind of dusty, but
It is. Oh, we're going to be doing a demonstration on spinning, so we need to get one of our wheels going. So this one was the closest to operations, I think. Besides doing it by hand with what are those? What's that called?
spindles.
Spindles.
Drop
Yeah.
spindles.
We can do drop spindles, but when you have equipment, come on, let's roll that. So we're going to lubricate all the points. There's probably a few down here too, right?
No.
This little pin here.
No. It doesn't actually move. It just flexes.
Oh, I see. It's got a leather flexor.
Got a leather.
So it's got the two pieces here where it rocks back and forth too.
Mm-hmm.
The typical main bearing. Right. Looks like that could be any piece of leather if you lost a piece of it.
Yep.
She failed if any leather would work.
Good.
And these pivot points here.
Yeah.
We're running our heater because it's the basement and it's cold.
And this one over here.
Yep.
See why you need the little narrow tip?
For sure.
Because the spots are all.
So I got it lubricated. And this is freed up a little bit. A little bit. I bet you I give it a couple miles on her, she'll free right up.
Well, and it has to.
So it's
It has to have some tension.
Right.
That's what makes it work.
Cool. All right. So belt is next.
Okay, so when you're replacing the drive band, the first thing you have to make sure is that this thing, which is called the mother of all, is all the way down. So this little screw here, basically what it does is it lifts this further away from here, and that increases the tension. So you want it to be at the lowest point, closest together, so that you have the option to move it further apart. So you start with it close together.
Right. That way you make it as tight as you can, and then you actually have space to tighten it if you need to.
Right.
Gotcha. And
So
this is a kit, right? You bought from
this is a kit. I bought it from a company called Fiber Garden, which is in Ontario, but I'm sure they're available other places because this is actually from Ashford, which is the company that makes the spinning wheel. So this is a poly drive band. So it's clear,
It's like a
plastic rubbery
tube,
kind of
yep.
stuff. And then, so you make sure that the main bar is at the lowest point, which it is. And then you put it around, and then we're going to mark it and cut it off. Okay?
Gotcha.
So it goes around the wheel. Can't see if that's right.
Yep, in the center groove.
Yep. Hang on.
Yep.
Losing it.
Lost it.
Yeah.
So let's mark this around like this so they show everyone your craft room.
You mean my mess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
There you go.
it goes like so.
We need a marker?
Yeah.
Crap, let me go get
So
one.
you get the drive band fairly snug to, like, not tight, but snug to the right spot. And then you just cut it off. Like so. I need to cut this end off, actually, just a smidge. Because it's angular.
Factory ended.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you get this little piece of wood too.
Right. Make sure I do this the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is this piece of wood helps you line it up and get them.
And the note you told me was you got to make sure you have it around the wheel before you seal it, because there's no way to get this wheel off.
Right. It
There's
just
this
has to be around the wheel, not the.
Yeah, this comes
Doesn't
off.
matter if it's on the flyer.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's an important step, so we'll mention it several times for
It is an
people, because you're going to do it and
important
you'll be like, ah, crap.
Because otherwise you have to cut it and take it apart. And they also say to save the leftover piece for repairs. So in case it gets broken.
I guess you can.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now what we do is, it says you take the open ends and get them warm. And then you press them together and hold them firmly for 30 seconds.
Yeah, this whole, you get the warm and stick them here so you can.
Yep, that's called, they call that the joining block. I'm just trying to make sure I get these on the right side, so I'm not figure eighting. That's important too. Don't get a figure eight in your drive band. That would be bad. Okay, and what it says is to use the base of the flame because it's hotter and it will make it clear and not bubbly. And then you stick them here and join them together, like so.
And we fast forward 30 seconds. Okay, so we've got them, we held them together. Now they're firmly together, but there's a little bit of a bubble there if you can see it or not. So we got to trim it. So
Just take a blade and just trim off some of the extra.
This way you don't get that clunking noise, I guess, too.
Yeah, we don't want a clunking noise. Could I have used a duller blade? Probably. Seriously, I think
It's pretty hardcore rubber.
this is serious stuff. It does not want to cut at all. It also says you can use nail clippers if you have those. All right, so now we have it. It goes around the wheel in the little groove.
And you can use yarn for this too, right? You don't have to use a dry band.
No, a lot of them use like a cotton drive band. This poly one is just
Fancy pants.
kind of fancy pants, yeah.
It's because the shipping was the same.
Yeah, well, that was the problem. It was going to cost me as much in shipping no matter what, and the other part was only like $4, so I was like, well, let's try this poly drive band, see how that works. All right. There.
Wow.
There she is. And you're supposed to get it
tension-wise?
as tight as it'll go without slipping. Which is pretty fantastic, actually, just right now. I mean, I'm not trying to spin anything, but...
Yep. But that's where you can adjust it on the fly if you needed to. If you notice you were starting to slip because you got dust, dirt, or it started stretching out on.
That's right. So, wham bam.
Cool.
There it is. That only took a couple minutes.
Yep, so we did the belt, and of course we changed this little piece out here. And Ashford, Google them. You'll find the parts you need. If you have a particular part that's broken, I'm sure they'll have a replacement.
Yep. That's the nice thing about this wheel, is it's not super fancy, but this wheel here, the specific one, is from late 70s, early 80s, and they still sell parts for it. So
right, that one that's down there is probably a homemade unit, right?
It absolutely is.
So we'll have to play with that one later, but okay. So the last part we're going to set up on here, we kind of jumped the gun on the ending there, is the brake. And that brake is for this portion of the what? The bobbin?
It's the bobbin brake. Is
okay,
what it is.
This is the bobbin brake. Okay.
And
I don't know much about these, obviously, but that's good for our viewers.
It
right?
helps give tension so that the wheel will uptake the thread.
So we had to buy a spring because there's a spring back here that the string goes through, and we went to a hardware store essentially for that.
Yep.
And any store with a large variety of springs can provide you with.
They're just a small spring with a little hook on each end.
Right. Okay.
Easy peasy. Okay.
And this one originally came with a larger monofilament line, like a fishing line essentially.
Yeah.
We don't have that on this one.
Right.
We just have smaller fishing lines, so we're going to just essentially run a line, loop it through the hook, and run it back, and that should give us enough essentially surface area to break this
right.
bobbin enough.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do that.
So this little peg just pops off. The head just pops off, and the old piece goes away because it's garbage. So the new piece then will just, there's actually a groove from where the old one was. Okay. Then the little ball just pops on the end, and see it's good and tight.
Yep.
And then it goes in the little hole. And then this goes up over the bobbin like that. And then ties to this little spring, which goes here. How about we don't come undone? Thanks though. And the nice thing is this spring is not very thick, very nice thin spring, so
Not
that
very springy.
it has a fairly light. And there we go. And then I just, well, I might actually put one more loop on there, but then I'll just trim off the ends, the excess at the end.
For
And-
aesthetics, pretty much, and so it doesn't get mechanically stuck anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, and so then the way that we would tension that would just be to turn the little ball and see how the spring
Yeah, I see that.
stretches.
So it pulls tighter on this, so it doesn't allow it to spin as easily, and that's the point.
Right, and then that helps with the uptake. So
Cool.
that's it.
So that's it. So now if you have any questions,
Now it's
or
fixed.
subscribe to our channel for more knitting and cool sewing machine stuff, as you guys already know. All right, thanks. Catch you later.